puppy. Well, hello and welcome back to our garden. I have started to clean out the shed. I want to spend time out here, but I can't be physically in the garden because everything is absolutely soaking. The weather hasn't changed, and if you see a bit of sunshine around me, don't let that to deceive you. Yes, today is one of the best days from the point of view that there's a good gaps between the showers, but when the showers come, they are vicious. And tomorrow is an absolute write-off, which is Sunday, and then there's another storm coming as well. So my body, my mind need sunshine. So I want to be outdoors. And when the weather is like that, when the sunshine is really bright, for some reason, I always think of like spring cleaning jobs. So I want to tidy up the shed a bit as the roof now is on it. I'm still not ready to give you an update on that. And then the blight has definitely gone even more rampant in the greenhouse. So I'd say we do need to assess that and deal with that as well. And I want to get my harvest table, which never got used this season, back into the greenhouse as well, so that I can start doing more sowing and get back into this kind of autumnal winter rhythm of being a little bit more undercover and not being dependent on physically doing jobs out in the garden when the weather is just not allowing me to do that. So I'm thinking the best probably is to put on some music, headphones, and put on time lapse and see if I can clean up this mess a little bit more, get it more organized, because my mind works better in organized situations. Plus, I want to get here before any of the furry friends are starting to build their winter nests, or that they know there's a place for them to go and hide. I want to eliminate all those options for them as well. So put you on time lapse. I think that's probably the best idea to do. So first of all, I'm sure that we all have these spaces that are just so convenient, out of sort of sight, out of mind a bit. And especially in a case of a shed, it's away from the elements. You've put it under the shelter, even though now you're creating this kind of a heap of a mess. And yeah, this shed area, exactly the same. We have an old table here, like a garden table, and it was just convenient because the size suited it, but the legs are really rotten, so it's not something we use and we didn't want to use, but because the top of it is so perfect, I just did not want to dump it. So it became the surface in this shed. So underneath of it, great bigger pots, any kind of fertilizers, just really handy to shove it all under there. And then the top for the pots and the knitting and any other bits and pieces, strings, and so much stuff that we just accumulate, don't we? So it was just so convenient. Stack them all there. For me to really properly get to the table, because I knew that I had to do something with the table, obviously I had to take everything out of my way, and that was quite a big job because I'm already slightly sorting things out, but yeah, I have a lot of pots. I know I do have a lot of pots, but they are perfect. There's nothing wrong with them, so I don't really want to get rid of them yet. So I'd rather sort them by their sizes and whatnot, colours, shapes, and I'll end up sorting them as many times as it will visually look pleasing to my eye, I'm not ready to get rid of them yet. So the thought I have is that I'm going to actually cut this table half, or I'm going to divide it into something, because it is just too deep. So I can't actually reach over all the way to the other end, and that's again creating another obstacle why I perhaps can't keep that area so easily accessible, because it's too deep. So I've decided that I'll cut it sort of 1/3 off and use that as shelving on one side of the shed, and then you leave the other 2/3 to the other side of the shed, because lengthwise it's also sort of fitting perfectly. Just needed to cut out a couple of the corners for the so that you can really sit flush against the back walls. It looks so much better. Genuinely, it looks just so good when I can literally walk into the shed, and I have twice nearly the table space now, and I don't want to clutter every bit of the table space. I still want to have some of it nice and empty, but now I can start creating some kind of a system of what goes where. It's not perfect because I'm not fully equipped yet. I probably have to get some kind of like storage boxes that it will make it easier for me to systemize items that I have. But overall, dividing the table up like that has opened up that space so much more, than I really have a proper wide walkway in between now, and everything is really easily reachable. I can touch every wall over the table surface as such. So systemizing, sorting things out will be so much easier now. And if that's easy, also keeping it tidy will in the future end up being so much easier again. Well, this took way longer than anticipated. I thought if I maximum spend like 2 hours at it, then that would have been normal and totally okay. Well, I'm 5 hours in. All fairness now, the timber side of it, I ended up tidying that up as well, because I was like, oh, I've already done so much, I might as well do this. But the amount of sneezing I've done, and I can really feel it now, I'm so clogged up. I've taken my hay fever tablets or antihistamines, and I can really feel the sneezing has given me a slight headache, and there was a lot of dust I was stirring up. So not positive from that side, but overall I'm delighted with the outcome. Now, considering the amount of time I spent on it, there is no hope that I'll go at the greenhouse today. But even if I could get the harvest table in here to dry, because it's just so soaking wet, and then if tomorrow, even though if it's going to be stormy or whatever, I could get it into the greenhouse, and then I'll close the doors in the greenhouse and I'll potter away inside there. As today I did want to be outdoors or being around fresh air. Now, overall though, I'm so happy with the outcome, because it has made such a difference to the space. There's so much more room for me to actually walk in there. I don't have to deal with this deep table. I can actually access everything really easily. I still have a little bit of bits and pieces that I haven't sorted. I'd say I probably need to add like a shelf or something to the side here on that side. Just something even shallower, like a shelving or something, so I can sort those little bits and pieces and strings and things up like that. But everything is so much clearer, and it's that beauty when you're dealing with like shallower shelves or surfaces, that you're not ending up stacking everything up too much, and you'll have much better access to everything. And then the tools, I definitely also have to get maybe hooks or something against the back wall, so that I can see the, let's say, the shovels or rakes and things, and I can easily take them off the wall rather than having everything gathered on the ground. So that's just something that I still have to fix and tidy. But as far as seeing clear floor, everything organized and tidied and sorted, way better for the mind. And now anything new coming from the greenhouse, I know I'm not just dumping it here, that there is going to be a purpose to some areas. But overall, this kind of like a spring clean I'm doing in September, it's just overall, it's going to be so good for the mind. It's going to be so much clearer of what I have, what I can let go of, especially anything that's broken or damaged. Like I know I have a lot of pots, but they're perfect. But some of the trays, just get them into recycling, turn them around, get them out of here, no point holding on to them. So I think that's the plan, and we'll come back tomorrow and deal with the greenhouse then tomorrow. Well, how nice it is to be greeted with a bit of brightness and this kind of a hazy sunshine, because it's not as gloomy as I was expecting today to be. Now, the weather warnings are actually coming into effect way later in the evening. So we'll have a yellow wind warning, plus it is going to be raining quite a bit. But yeah, we'll have this kind of a gap at the moment. There's still drizzles, but there's a real good brighter spells looking like for a couple of hours. And at the moment it's very hazy, and any bit of sunshine and it's going to heat up inside here really fast. But at the moment, even that little drizzle is not stopping the ant bot genie working. So it's cutting the grass out there at the moment. And in here, I've got the table in, but I can't even swing a cat inside here. It is so tight. I don't know if it was a great idea getting the table here, considering that the weather is not as bad as I was expecting. So I might just have to work around this table now. But at least there's no heavy rains that I was so worried that it's going to make so much noise inside the greenhouse. I think clear the space up first and then deal with the blight and the tomatoes after that. What I actually most have in here are those garlic, bean, pea shoots or the stems. And I do need to actually pick the beans out of the broad beans out of their pods as well. Maybe some peas as well. But otherwise, yeah, it's just stuff to actually go into the compost heap. And then I have boxes that have stuff in them and boxes that have nothing in them. I have more pots that just could be now transferred into the tidied shed. So it's not that bad, but it still takes a bit of effort, and especially considering it's just so tight here. So yeah, I might have just, that mightn't have been the best idea by me now to get the table in here. But I was just so worried that it's going to be really raining. It's going to be so miserable, and I don't want to have that sitting out there in the rain. So let's see. I might be just fine. Okay, a little bit of a curveball. I have quite a bit of tidy done already in this area, in the table area. And I thought I'd put the phone on time lapse. But thinking back now, because once I went to the phone to check it, there is no time lapse. Because my father rang me right at the second as I was pressing record. And he doesn't ring me that often, so it really sort of threw me a little bit. It's usually my mum that rings me. But he does ring me when he's on doing some kind of travels, or he's doing a bit of sailing or something, and he's in a particular spot, so he always rings me. Guess where I'm at the moment? So today he's not sailing, he's in a truck on the border of Austria because he went for a drive along to Italy with a friend of his who drives these articulated lorries, and apparently they have like 20 tons of cheese to go to Italy from Estonia. So he rang me because of that, and because today is Grandparents' Day. So just to say, here I am. But that totally threw me, and I got so distracted, and obviously I did not press record. So there is no time lapse. Sorry. And I'm not blaming you, Dad, if you're watching it later. It's just I got so distracted, and it's so hot inside here. Truly, it is so hot. So I know it's the combination of the heat and just being sort of thrown a bit by an unexpected phone call. But I cut even a hole into the table to fit it better. I think it was going to be quite a good time lapse because it was going to be filmed high above, and I don't know how I even didn't think of, sure, I didn't even place the phone high up. But it is what it is. So, but I still have plenty to do. I have beans, the broad beans and peas to clean, or just to get that out of here as well, because they do create visually quite a lot of rubbish. And even any of the other boxes and things I moved from here, I was so afraid of moving anything, any little bit, because it's the first year I've really truly seen the most of mouse or shrew activities. And I've genuinely spotted them so often this year in the garden. So I don't know if the neighborhood cats haven't been coming to our garden as much now as they do over winter time, but the population has become quite visible. So the field mouse, or the sort of standard mouse that you'd have, and then the It's the larger shrew, which is not native to Ireland, not the pygmy shrew. I can't think of what's the other version of a shrew. But I did find somebody's nest under one of the boxes, and that was made mostly out of like the tagetes, dried flower petals. But otherwise, I've seen like digging as well in the beds here around the tomatoes. And it's the same thing. I don't want them to get comfortable inside these spaces, because it's not going to be too long before they start also tasting a bit more of the food that we have growing here. And also I suppose my fear is that if the small ones are starting to move in, the opportunistic rats might not be too far along either, and I definitely don't want rats. Whatever the shrews and the mice, it's the rats are the biggest no-no, because they just cause so much destruction. If they start burrowing or chewing through anything, they cause a lot of damage, or can cause a lot of damage. We have made great progress. The area is tidy and clean. The table is back in its place. The shelving has been cleaned and organized. And I've dealt with all the beans and pea, the foliage that I had brought inside here to dry out, and that was part of that 1 hour challenge video I had done a couple of weeks back. And I've kept all the good seeds, so all the seeds are organized as well. Having all that clutter gone just clears your mind. It makes the space itself so much more enjoyable. There's so much to be said about these clean and simple environments. It really truly helps you to focus better and overall give you a better feeling about the environment that you're in. But the wind outside is picking up. The gusts are really coming and they're becoming quite fierce. So it's warm inside here, but I've had to close the doors because you don't want those strong gusts to actually blow through the greenhouse. It's going to unstabilize it. And obviously the noise, now there is gaps between those gusty winds and they're coming on more often. But I want to start clearing the blighted foliage, bag it all up. There's a good few fruit as well that actually have blight on them, and bag it all up because we have the refuge bin truck coming. So I'm going to be able to get rid of all that material from here. I also need to harvest some of the tomatoes from here. Plus then I also want to put aside a couple of really good examples of the Sun Gold Select, the Tumbling Tom, and then the Apricot Salix. And I'm still going to take a couple of the second season Sweet Millions as well, because it is quite a stable variety. So we'll see how we get on with second year of saving our own seed, because they are F1. So, and because it's quite a stable F1, the first year after saving seed from your own grown plants, they usually come through as they are, and they've been absolutely fantastic this year. Again, I have one here right next to me actually that was self-sown. I wasn't sure what make was going to come out of it, and it's been fantastic. It's been the best plant out of all of them in here now. Probably more to do with that it actually came up itself and started to grow earlier than when I planted the rest of the young seedlings here. But then Tumbling Tom, Sweet Million, I'll take samples of them as well for seed saving and just get through the foliage at least, because if it gets very noisy in here, I can't really talk to you that much then. So let's get on to that. feel really good about the outcome of this weekend, especially considering that once we initially heard what the rest of the week was going to be, I think from Wednesday, Thursday onwards, that it's going to be basically the same as the previous weekends. A lot of rain, wind. Yeah, I genuinely actually even had said it to my husband that I'm not going to make any video because I can't even go out there to do anything. There's just no job in the garden that I really need to get done that badly. And then once I started to see those glimpses of sunshine, I think yesterday I said that when I see this kind of nice bright sunshine, I want to be outdoors and do like spring cleaning type of jobs. Well, it is only true if it's autumn, winter or springtime that I want to do it like that, because if it's summer and it's bright sunny day, that's the last thing on my mind, is to do some kind of a heavy physical work and spring cleaning type of jobs. But when it's this kind of a coolish enough, yeah, it feels really good to do a bit of physical labor. And yeah, this overall weekend now, considering how much I ended up getting done, it really surprised me. Very positive outcome that way. And even here, once the blighted foliage is gone and I harvested a lot of tomatoes. So these are the cherries, and I suppose with the cherries, the more I grow them, the more I do prefer them over the bigger ones, especially considering the space we have and the conditions we have, because they ripen from the top down. So you do get this consistent supply, and they do end up maturing and growing quicker. And then you should have a chance of growing them longer into the season as well. So I got the mix of all the cherries. So I had the 3 cherry types: Tumbling Tom, Sweet Million and Sun Gold Select. But out of the flavours, it's still the Sun Gold Select and Sweet Million that are the favourites. The Tumbling Tom is just lacking a little bit of flavour there. And then my Italian Heritage variety tomato that I'm growing every year, only because it's not a common seed to get. So I'm saving my own seed every year, and they're just slow to mature, and they usually get blight the quickest, even though this year they didn't seem to. It was all the cherries where the leaves got it first. But again, this year we did have potato blight, which I haven't had, I'd say 15 years. So it was just one of those really wet, really humid summers. And then obviously I was able to have my seed tomatoes put aside as well, so I can save seed from that. And then, as I said, I cleaned all the beans. And having these jobs done, yeah, mentally it's such a tick, 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 tick. Done, finished. And it's just overall, obviously, everything is tidy. I actually even got that carried away that I continued in the central bed and took up all the purple French beans, and I dehulled them as well. So I have the seeds gathered up from them as well. And obviously any of the foliage that I had, the blighted stuff, went into the bag, and that goes into refuge bin, and then the rest all went into compost, the big compost heaps, and then some into the hot bin here as well. But I think when you follow through on a job from A to B, you really, from start to finish, you get every bit of it done. It's a different level of like satisfaction, work satisfaction. So I'm really, really happy how the overall weekend turned out to be. And I can see Snowy is really happy to have his sort of sleeping area back as well. He's been absolutely delighted with himself. He hasn't moved. And this time I actually made sure that the table fitted way tighter against the back wall, which meant that I had to cut a chunk of wood out of this table. This is quite an old table. It's been with us since we built the house. So this is, again, good 15, no, it's older. I want to say 18, not 30, 18 years old. And it's been outdoors all the time. I don't know what material it was made out of. It was just an outdoor set. It wasn't expensive, but it has lasted us so well. So I did think at least 20 times about it. Should I cut the hole into it or not? I really mulled over that last year already, because it just forced the table to be sitting out because of the structural metals of the greenhouse. And now I just went ahead and did it. Now I haven't dumped the piece of timber, but whatever it was made out of, it is absolutely perfect. There is no damage to it, and it's really nice and solid, even though you see the shape of it. It's quite a strange shape of the table. So this is the top and that's the bottom. And every one of the thick boards in that table have this. Now the chairs that came with the table, they were quite big and elaborate, sort of arm chair type of chairs as well. But we kept the table. The chairs actually collapsed. Oh, and there was a bench as well. They collapsed way quicker. But the table stayed, and yeah, well impressed with that. But this time I did cut the piece out, got the table nicely snug fitted here, and Snowy was right under it. And he's been so happy and pleased with himself that he has this kind of nice secluded and protected area. And he's still near me, because he really likes to keep me company when I'm outside. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, if you're with me still to this point, I have a feeling you might be team Spots and Roses. So one of you on last week's video actually noted there's a new feature on YouTube which is called Hype. And that's just like a click of a button again. Instead of the like button, it's a hype. So it sort of just helps smaller channels to become more visible. Especially, I suppose, why it's important is when the new AI videos are starting to come out, it's very hard, I'm sure, to get these vlogs out there on the home screen. But that hype button, now I couldn't find it on the TV when viewing YouTube on the TV, but I can see it on the sort of mobile app, YouTube app. So so with the sort of the like and subscribe buttons, there's that hype as well. So if you want to, you can click on that. It would give a better chance of the videos going out to other places as well. It does amaze me how far these videos are actually reaching. So we definitely have had Queensland in Australia, we've had South Africa, in America we've had Texas, we have definitely had all the East Coast as well, but Canada, Northern Territories I'd want to say, and then Ali, where were you? Were you Vancouver? So they do reach quite a bit. I know Iceland, there's been some Icelandic people commenting, and then obviously from the south side, eastern side, there's definitely Malaysia, I want to say Thailand. So yeah, the videos go all over the world. Oh, South America, was there somebody from Peru from there as well in earlier videos? It's unbelievable. That people are interested in what I'm doing here in our own home garden in Ireland. So this is it for this week. Let's hope that the storm passes as swiftly as it's due to come to us, and no trouble from that side. And hopefully we'll see you next week again in a new update from the garden. See you next time.